So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Ange Headlam. I'm the Community Experience Coordinator here at Diabetes Australia. Today's Health Hour, health coaching session with Beck, is the 23rd in our health coaching series. Today, the topic is how many carbs should I eat in a day? And for those of you who are joining us for the first time and you want to go back and watch the other 22 sessions with Beck with health coaching, you can find them in Diabetes Connect. They are there. If you look under your member benefits tab right up the top, you'll put a menu down and there will be a health hour page there that you can link through to and watch those recordings. So as I was saying, if you have any questions at all throughout this webinar, please pop them in the Q&A area or in the chat area. Whichever you can see, I will keep an eye on that. So just whichever is easiest for you. As Beck goes through the webinar, she might ask you to come off mute, ask your questions. Beck will go through that with you. And as I've mentioned, the webinar is recorded and will be available. I'll now just read our acknowledgement of country. Diabetes Australia acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional owners and custodians of this country. I acknowledge Palawa Tasmanian Aboriginal people, the Tasmanian Aboriginal community, as the original owners of Lutruwita, Tasmania. We recognise their connection to land, waters, winds and culture. We pay the utmost respect to them, their cultures and to their elders past and present. We extend that respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. We recognise that Australia is made up of hundreds of different Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups, each with their own histories, culture, language and belief systems. Their relationship with country remains of utmost importance as it is the foundation of culture, family and kinships, songlines and languages. Diabetes Australia is committed to improving the health outcomes for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people affected by diabetes and those at risk. And with that, I will hand over to Beck. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the session.
Hello, everyone. 23rd. Whoa, we've been busy. It's lovely to see you all. I can see some lovely familiar faces as well. And as Ange said, look, this is a really interactive webinar. I'll start off with saying a few points, but the most important thing about health coaching is listening to you. And that's what United's all about, hearing what your experiences are like to help other people. And today it's probably one of my favorite topics, which is carbohydrate, because the question I ask is, how long's a piece of string? Really, it's not a one size fits all. And why I like that, and I kind of sit on the fence with this, is because there's something for everyone. And that's what we'll learn today. What suits you may not suit someone else. So you might have type 1 diabetes. You might be on an insulin pump. That might be very different to someone who's type 2 diet controlled, or someone who has type 3 diabetes because they've had part of their pancreas removed and has gone into diabetes. So everyone's really different, but hopefully what you'll take away today is something that will work for you. So just to kick off, first of all, I'm sure we all know carbohydrates, when we eat them, they break down and form glucose in our blood. And how many of you were told years ago, don't eat sugar? That's what caused diabetes. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we could talk for hours about what you were told, but we know that carbohydrates is a macronutrient and it's a fuel source, and you find it in starches and sugars. So sugars can be sugars in dairy foods like yogurt and milk, but it also can be fruit, fructose. So anything OSC means sugar, okay? But it also can be in our yummy foods, our treat foods, chocolates, sweeties, crisps, things like that. And they can be OSC in a lot of those products as well. So sucrose is table sugar. Okay, so we've got fructose, lactose, sucrose, and not all those carbohydrates were created equal. So we know if you eat a piece of fruit, like a small apple, it will have a better reaction to your blood sugars compared to half a bag of sweets, for example. But what we're going to look at today is really, what are the recommendations, particularly for diabetes? And so there are kind of 3 levels of carbohydrate amounts that you could include in the day. And the first one is moderate carbohydrate intake, and that's anything over 130 grams a day. Now, to me, that's quite a lot for someone with diabetes. And where I find people will eat this, and I'm not talking about pediatrics today, I'm talking about adult nutrition, because someone who let's say a young person with type 1 would be eating over 130 grams a day because they're growing and they need to meet their needs. But I have seen people, including myself, eat over 130 grams of carbohydrate a day. And that's typically when someone's newly diagnosed. And you might say, look, I have bowl of porridge in the morning with a bit of banana on top, and I have a sandwich at lunch, have some crackers and something in the afternoon, and at night I have a spaghetti bolognese, big plate of pasta with it, but the missus puts all veg in the mince, and or I have a stir fry with rice. And that's quite a healthy diet, but you'll find that will clock up more than 130 grams of carb a day. And often people will say, I'm eating really well, my sugars are up. And so that's when we'll start looking at, well, what you're eating is very good. We just have to shave off some of that quantity. So for anyone who finds that their blood sugars are not really going so well, we're saying 2 hours after a meal between 6 to 8 up to 10 millimoles per litre, then you might find that you aim to less than 130 grams of carb a day. But what would that look like? So I'm going to talk for a bit and then it's going to be over to you, but hopefully this gives you a bit of a framework. So if someone came into me, so many times has this happened where they're well above 130 grams, but they're eating a beautiful diet. The quality is great. They're on low GI, granary bread, basmati rice, porridge, good fruits and stuff. So that's part one, quality, big tick. Maybe that's what we have to write that down, Ange. That might be another topic to go back to, is quality carbs. But tick, quality. And I'll go, well done you. So what's not working? Okay, so we know that carbs breaks down to form glucose in the blood. There's a bit too much sugar in your blood, and that pancreas is wearing out. Or if you're type 1, you don't have any insulin from the pancreas, so you need to inject more and more. So then we go, okay, so we've got that lovely, healthy day. Let's change it. So that porridge, maybe we reduce the size of that porridge, that portion of oats, or maybe try a slice of toast with 2 eggs. So we've cut those carbs down. The same at lunchtime. If the blood sugars are going up from the sandwich, maybe we change the bread to a lower carb bread. Or a summer, we might try some salads with protein and maybe a different type of carb, such as a small handful of legumes or heaps of veg. And for dinner, it might be, especially when we look at cultural foods, and what people often say to me is, oh, well, now I've got diabetes, I have to give up my cultural diet. Incorrect. You know, if your staple is rice or pasta, you don't have to give it up. You've just got to be carb smart. So for you might find, and I'm going to send you all a video. I did a video on my kitchen about portion correction of carbs to show you how you can still eat carbs, but not as much. So let's say you have the bed of rice. Okay, and I've taught my mum this recently. Just pile it up with the bed of rice, and then you put your filling on top. You put the filling down first, the veg and the veg and the protein, and then you might add a small scoop on top. So visually, you think you're getting a lot of rice. It's just poking up. Or what restaurants do, they just get a mold and put it in the middle, and it's only half cup cooked. You've just cut down to 30 grams of carbs, and then you put your filling around it. So our new diabetes recommendations for people living with diabetes who want better control and maybe want to lose a bit of weight, it would be aiming for 30 grams or less of carbs at a meal. So that would be about a fist size of those traditional carbs, like I said, pasta or rice. Could be 2 slices of bread, or you could be really clever. And I've got some recipes I'm going to put in the chat, and you're going to get a heap of stuff after this in my email, that you might be clever and make up some sort of big veggie dish, like a ratatouille. That's one from the south of France, lots and lots of veg, where you clock up about 20 grams of carbs just from that. It's quite filling, and then you add your protein. So there's so many ways of doing it. But 130 grams and less is your lower carbohydrate diet. And a very low carb diet is the next stage, is between 20 and 50 grams. So 20 to 50 grams, 20 grams is looking at ketogenic. And then up to around 50 grams is still very low carb. So can you see there's 3 different stages, and everyone is different in how they respond to carbs. And the one thing I'm also going to show you when I send you the recipes, because I've had quite recently people asking for even lower carbs. So instead of 30 grams for a meal, can you even go lower? And these recipes I'm going to put in the chat are maximum 15 grams at a meal. But how you would know what suits you is you'll be testing your sugars 2 hours after to see what would suit you as an individual. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to answer a couple of questions, and it's going to be over to you, and then we're going to have a big banter for an hour. Does that sound good? Right, here we go. Questions. And one of my recipes is, what would I say, inspired by Stephen, who loves KFC, and he said, oh, I'd love something. He missed his KFC. And I said, you can still have it now and then, no worries. But I thought, I'm going to try to make up a recipe where he can have it every week. So my secret spiced chicken with coleslaw, I came up with. Now, it's not going to be the real deal, Stephen, but it's good for the blood sugars. But I'm going to send that to you all as well. Mary Linda, lovely to meet you. What about sourdough? Mary Linda, sourdough is an excellent carbohydrate source. It's low GI. One point with sourdough. What would be the main point I'd be saying about sourdough? What would you have to be mindful of? Or a couple of points. I'd love to hear what you think.
I'm ethnic and very, very foodie, and I've only been recently diagnosed with diabetes. I don't want to cut out carbs. Carbs are great. That's why we like them.
Agree.
And they're mainly in comfort food, and it's called comfort food because it's comfortable. So in terms of alternatives, is sourdough okay?
Sourdough is
I do bacon stuff, and I don't want to put that to waste either.
No, sourdough, Mary Linda, is an excellent source. And what I like that you say is it's comforting food, and you can still have carbs and be satisfied, but be carb smart about it. So sourdough is really good. The only thing we'd have to be careful of is how thick we slice it. So when I go to an artisan bakery, I ask them to slice it because I slice it too big because I love it so much. But sourdough is really, really good. How you can be carb smart, let's say you're finding that your sugars are going up after having 2 slices, is you might do an open sandwich and have 1 slice and then put your eggs and everything on top. So definitely go for the whole foods, the quality foods. And when you look at cultures around the world, look at the Mediterranean diet, look at the Asian, the South American, every culture has really good, satisfying comfort carbs. So it's just a matter of looking at portion caution because they're quality. So the more we go back to whole foods, and when you look at my recipes, they're all whole foods. Goes back to nature, things that our great-grandparents used to use. Just because we're sedentary, a bit more sedentary now, like myself, and I'm going to come to Deb's question. It's a really good question about timing. We might need a bit less carb when we're not as active. But Mary Linda, yeah, go sourdough. It's probably, it is my top tip for bread choice. Definitely.
But can I just say, with sourdough, you have to be careful. Just because they put sourdough on a label doesn't mean it's actually real sourdough. And so if you look on the label and it says in the ingredients yeast, don't eat it. It's not real sourdough. So if they put
yeast, I have my own starter and I make it myself.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Good point, Deb, because you can even taste it. It's like flavored. It's just and you'll find your sugars will go up because it will just be white bread with yeast in it and something that tastes a bit acidic.
It also smells different.
Correct. Yep. Good points. So is it genuine? Okay. And then just watching the quantity. But sourdough is the best bread. It's been around for years and years. And even in France, when they have baguettes, an original baguette is called artisan, and that's actually sourdough. So Deb's question, and then I've got a hand up from Rich, and I'm just going to see if there's another hand up because we've got so many people here today, which is very exciting. Okay, let's go back. So Deb has asked, is there a better time of the day to be eating carbs? That's a really good question because often people say I eat carbs in the morning and less carbs at night. Look, everyone's different, but I would recommend in general, be better to be eaten during the day because we're more active. So for me, for example, I have a bit more carbs in the morning because I'm quite active in the morning, running around, and I'll tend to do a fitness session in the morning. But at night time, I tend to base carbs on more of those vegetables, so go lower carbs. But everyone's different. I do a just started self-defense class on Wednesday, so I'm feeling very watch out. I know, and it's time away for my mental health 2 hours when my nanny McPhee, my mum, looks after my beautiful 4-year-old Sophia, and I do that session from 5 to 7 p.m. and I come home ready to eat the horse and chase the rider. So what I've had to do is think, all right, on Wednesday's class, that's where I tend to have some sort of more traditional carb, because I'm really, really hungry. So I have brown rice in my 1 bowl wonder. So I have a scoop of rice and then have my chicken and my feta cheese and my spinach and balsamic vinegar and olive oil and something really quick, but it has to be carby because I'm really, really hungry. So that's an example of when you would change that and have more carbs at night. Everyone's different, but sometimes people find they cut the carbs far too low and then they're snacking too much in the evening. And I had a client not that long ago who had a really good diet and she went very low carb, but she didn't need to because her sugars were good, but she was looking at weight loss. And then after dinner, when she had veg and protein, she was snacking at night. She said, I don't usually eat chocolate, but I was just going for my hubby's chocolate. So we didn't experiment, put some traditional carbs back at dinner time. It was only about 20-ish grams, cut the cravings later on. So timing's very different, but the more active we are in the day, that's when you base it on the carbs. Now, Rich. Hi, Rich.
Hello. How are you going, Beck?
Good to meet you.
Likewise.
What's
So
your
yeah, I
question?
did actually put it in the chat as well. But yeah, so do you recommend a limit for carbs for type 1 diabetics on a
Say that
daily
again?
basis? Do you recommend any limits for
No,
carbs?
I don't. What I find in the situation of type 1 diabetes, it's so varied. The only time I do look at a limit is if someone's seeing me for type 1 diabetes for weight loss, and
Okay.
that's when I'd cap it. But normally people with type 1 diabetes will find they've kind of got a good idea. Well, they do have a good idea of what they can eat, but if it's not working, then we'll look at what can happen, and then that's when we usually cut it down. Yeah. So yeah, definitely not. But in general, like I said, if you're looking at weight management and it's not working, then 130 grams and less a day, 130 grams or less a day would work. But I've seen people, in particular men, because how much carb depends on the male or female, your activity levels, your age. But I've seen males who, with type 1, for example, who are losing weight and doing very well on more than 130 grams a day because they're very, 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 very active. So everyone's really, really different. So the main thing is I'm going to send you all a diary today. I sent it to my previous webinar members because I couldn't find it. And I thought, come on, Beck, get with the program, develop something. I call it being a detective, a diet detective or diabetes detective. So my question always is, how's that working for you? That was the old Dr. Phil question. How's that working for you? If it ain't working, let's look at the diary. Is it the carb amount? What else is going on? Yeah, so no recommendation for anyone really until I can really have a look. Laser focus. Yeah.
So the other question I wanted to talk about a bit was about the effects of dietary fat and insulin resistance. I'll just tell you a little bit about my experience. So I've had type 1 for nearly 40 years now, and I always had these periods. I'm quite active. I've always had these periods where my blood sugar would just go really high at night, particularly. And I asked multiple dietitians, endocrinologists, educators. No one really had a good answer until I stumbled upon the Mastering Diabetes channel on social media, and these are two guys who both have type 1 diabetes. One of them did his PhD on insulin resistance, and I found out that dietary fat is the primary cause of insulin resistance for not only for type 1s but type 2s and people without diabetes as well. So I started following their program. I lost, a good 15 kilos. I was like, I'm 188 centimeters. I got down to 78 kilos. It was the fittest I've ever been. My resting heart rate was like 44. And I was eating 600 grams of carbs a day.
There you go. What a great example. There you go.
Very little fat. Fat has three times as carbs does, as pure carbs, sugar. And so I was eating like around 30 grams of fat a day. And my insulin sensitivity was like 1 unit was doing 40 grams of carbs. So so it's fascinating. So I went from eating between, say, 250 and 350 grams of carbs and having about anywhere between 40 and 60 units of insulin a day, total daily dose, to eating between 600 and 800 grams of carbs a day. And I was having between 28 and 32 units of insulin because I cut out the fat.
What a great example. Doesn't it show you it's not a one size fits all? And it must have been frustrating before that because you've tried different methods and, the traditional way of reducing carbs and this and that, but then you've discovered that fat was the culprit for you.
Yeah, well, I think from what the research shows is that it's the same for everyone. Dietary fat means your insulin just doesn't work as well, that was a real. I guess I'm trying to find the right word here, but a really interesting discovery for me because
it was a game changer for you. It was a game changer for you. Let's talk about fat because I think that's a really important point, Rich. And we know that too much of the wrong type of fat can also pose a problem with how insulin works. And the sort of fat we do recommend is, not super low fat, but 30 grams is a good amount in the day. It is low, but, of good base fats like olive oils, your fish and everything. But it's interesting for those on the call who and I know Deb will attest to this, that when we're looking at carbs to manage blood sugars, it's not always about that. And as Reg said, it also can be fat. And so and we look in the research that too much fat in a meal can actually spike blood glucose levels, which can be frustrating, and same as protein. Deb, did you want to say a few points about that and maybe what you've found, maybe a bit of advice for people or what you've discovered, because it's not always a talked about topic?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things, and I agree completely with Rich, the fat content, but for me, it's the combination. So even if I had a low carb evening meal, but it was, it had, a reasonable amount of fat and a lot of protein, I would spike. I couldn't dose because I couldn't calculate what I needed to dose because, we're taught to dose on carbs. But my blood glucose levels were spiking. So I now have a percentage where a percentage of protein. So I will dose if it's above that percentage of protein, or a combination of fat. Even if it's a no carb or very, very low carb meal, I will still dose, but much less.
Yeah.
Yeah, because just to add to that, if I can,
absolutely.
What the research shows, as well as my experience, is that the when you eat the high dietary fat, or pretty much above 30 or 40 grams, depending on how big you are, the effects of that are not. They're not just after the meal. It actually takes about between 3 days and a whole week of if you cut all the fat out of, like, let's say you cut all the added fat out of your day, because that's really the only way you can eat 30 grams a day. You can't add oil. You can't eat any dairy or any meat because they have quite a lot of fat. We're talking about counting the fat in lettuce. If you track everything has a little bit. So it takes about up to a week or even 2 weeks for some people for the effect of that dietary fat that's built up in their muscles and in their blood and in their liver to be removed. And then that's when your insulin sensitivity just goes through the roof, or your insulin resistance goes right down. So it's like if I'll eat pizza one night, for example, and then the next night I'll eat super low fat but high carb, and the effects of that pizza will still be affecting my body's ability to transport the glucose into the cells.
Yeah,
it's a fascinating mechanism because our cells, they prefer to run on glucose. That's their ideal fuel cell. And when they're dealing with the fat, they tell the insulin to go away. as effectively because they're concentrating on dealing with a lipid molecule, and then the insulin doesn't work as well, and that's that is type 2 diabetes effectively. Yeah, it's fascinating when you actually experiment with the fat content, but it does take a few days before you see the effect.
You've hit the nail on the head as well, Rich, that it's experiment. And that's, when anyone's asking me, what can I eat, how much, general recommendations, but then to go and experiment with it, because I'm sure if I looked at all of your programs and what you eat is all very different, and then your body reacts very, very differently as well. Like I said, I'll be sending a diary to you all so you can capture that. And it's not just writing down what you eat in portions. We've talked about this at the last webinar. It's sleep, stress, pain, mood, and exercise. They're the other variables that will affect blood sugars. And we've got to keep all that in mind, because I've had people who, it's like flogging a dead horse. They'll be looking at the diet and cut down, maybe cutting down on the wrong types, or maybe it's not the diet at all. Maybe it's those other variables that will affect your blood sugars. So I'll be sending that to you all as well, if you haven't already received it. I do have another question from Glenda. Good question. What if you're gluten and lactose free? I can't have sourdough. Yeah, Glenda, what if you do like bread, there are some gluten. Well, the thing is, with gluten free, you've got to do a bit of experimentation and find a loaf that tastes really good. When I was living in Perth, I'm back in Wollongong, there was a really good artisan bakery that had a gluten-free bread that actually tasted like good bread. It wasn't crumbly. It wasn't, horrible. So yeah, you could have gluten-free bread. A lot of the time when you look at what is made up of a gluten-free bread, they tend to be higher GI. But again, what can you get away with? See how you go. It might be one slice that you try and put some protein on it to slow it down. And that could be your eggs, for example. But definitely don't feel that you have to miss out. That's really important. They also have, when you go to Irish, well, some bakeries will have the soda bread. Sometimes they'll have a potato loaf. Again, potato, high GI, but if you're having a small amount and adding some of the other macronutrients to slow it down, it might have a better effect. Again, experimentation as well. Another question. Timing, let's have a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the Q&A in the chat for you all already. So can you see, so exactly from Rich's example, I've seen people that it's when they lower the carb, they lose the weight, or other people who build the carbs up and lower the fat, they lose weight. So horses for courses, but in general, I'm going to put this in Q&A and the chat. And this is a link to our website with all my recipes, the ones that I've got written, it says that's written by me. And these are some examples of carbohydrate modified recipes. So if you find that modifying the carbs is what works for you, these recipes, I've tried to be clever and looking at ways of building that plant fiber. So all those antioxidant-rich vegetables and salads, that's where you get your carbohydrate from, but you're also getting fiber. So our recommendations also with our recipes, they have to be more than 7 grams of fiber. Okay, so that means you get all your interesting salads and vegetables in there as well. So it's that Mediterranean type diet. So have a look at those recipes and you'll find that they are interesting. I've cooked all of them. My 70-year-old mother and my 4-year-old daughter really likes them. So at ends of the spectrum with age, because it's about flavor. Food is about flavor as well. So what I try to do is make my own sauces and dressings. So you still get that. Let's say you're making a souvlaki, or you're making a bolognese, or you're making I've got a bang bang chicken salad. So it's got that Vietnamese flavor, making sure you've got all that flavor with the modified carb. But if the lower carb doesn't suit you, which I've put in my meal plans, that's when you add extra carb that suits yourself, if that makes sense. So other questions? People have got their, I've got lots of hands up. Hang on a minute. I'm just trying to, okay. Mary Linda.
Yes. When Rich was saying about how oils and fats and whatever raised the sugars a couple of days later, that feels like you've been really ripped off. Like there's no way out of this. You have to control everything, right? Sorry, you probably all already do this, so I've never had to till now.
No, Mary Linda, that's okay. And the last thing we want, and Rich can pipe up as well, is the last thing we want, and this is the purpose of these coaching webinars, is we don't want to feel, well, life, you do feel ripped off often, don't we? Okay, about anything. Okay, family,
No,
diet,
about this in
work.
particular.
Absolutely. And our role with United is to help you feel less of that. We're not saying that diabetes is easy, but what we're trying to do is really help you to help yourself and look at ways where, if you're a foodie like me, how can you still be a foodie and not feel a bit ripped off? Hence my secret spice chicken. I came up with that recipe idea because one of my meal plans was fakeaways, and we're all chatting going, I miss a Bosciola pasta recipe, I miss a KFC recipe, I miss a pizza recipe. And, we can't all eat those every day. And that's even people without diabetes. And I remember when Stephen first came on, it was a great discussion. He's saying that, a lot of his family eats all these takeaway all the time. And I said, well, actually, I don't have diabetes, but I shouldn't be eating that every day anyway. But people do. So you do feel ripped off and left out. We all should be eating the same. Maybe with diabetes, it's about being a little bit more mindful because you are more carb sensitive. But what we don't want to do is help you that you feel ripped off. But I want to hear those comments, because when I hear that I feel ripped off, that makes me think, solution, what can we do to lessen that feeling? It will never go away. Okay. But what can we do in United to help you feel that you're getting the best out of life when it comes to food and lifestyle?
Yeah, I have no problem adjusting recipes or cooking or whatever. I'm actually very resourceful and really quite creative in that space. But it's just when I go out, I have to look at this. I think, I really want one of those white wine seafood pastas and stuff, but I can't have that. So
Okay.
I order my bullshit chicken Caesar, and I don't enjoy it as much.
Can I ask Marilyn a couple of questions? How often do you go out? Is it once in a blue moon, or is it regularly?
Oh, it's like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So if it's 2 or 3 times a week, yeah, look, your BS chicken thing, like, well done. Okay. But then if it's like once every fortnight, right, I kind of choose my treats. So if I'm just going out
Yeah.
catching up with mum and having lunch, I'll go for a BS chicken salad over, because I'm an old
Yeah.
mum, and the people on, like, Stephen and Deb know me. I'm trying to keep healthy because I'm 48 and have a 40-year-old. So that's my motivation, right? But then if I'm catching up with my best friend who I haven't seen for in a year, which I did recently, and we went out to a proper Italian restaurant, I had the
Yeah.
pasta. I
Yeah,
had it.
and
You know what? I
it
had
was wonderful.
yeah, exactly. And I had a smaller size, because I often find I just feel a bit sick after it because I'm not used to
Yeah.
so much cream. So I had a smaller portion, and I love a good salad with balsamic vinegar and everything. And we had a starter. We had a bit of sourdough with proper butter, and I enjoyed it. But if you're going out a couple of times a week, yeah, the BS salads and all that, like, well done you. That's what we all should be doing. But choose your treats
I
wisely.
had egg and chicken and, the greenery, which I don't have a problem with.
It's great.
But my friends were hoeing into mac and cheese and Parmas, and I couldn't, because they come on a big pile of potatoes and,
Well, you
and don't get me
could,
wrong,
but
I
you
like
choose not to.
potatoes. I like everything. But this is so new to me, and the doctors have recently upped my metformin, and my goal is to not be on diabetes medicines. I'm type 2, so I don't need the insulin.
Well, I think you're doing really well, and
I really do feel I am, because I'll start off okay, and then I'll just feel like toast, and then I'll just feel like a packet of, like, crunchy chips, and then I'll feel like a biscuit with my coffee, and I can't do any of this anymore.
Mary Linda, can I just say to you, you're doing great just at your stage of diagnosis.
No, sometimes I backslide and I'll open the chips.
Oh,
Don't worry,
hello.
like, my hunger
We all
comes
do.
first.
We all do, darling.
But everybody does. That's not going to be unique to you, unfortunately. But the thing that I'm type 1, and the thing that I've gifted myself, I guess, is that, and I don't go out 2 to 3 times a week, but if I did, my philosophy would be, one of those 3 times, I'm going to have whatever I want to have. And in one sense, you've got you've got a slight advantage because you're type 2. So you're
Yeah.
not going to get an immediate reaction to the carbs that you're eating that you're going to have to deal with immediately.
No, I understand, but I also don't want the pizza I ate yesterday to do damage today either.
It won't do damage.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that. The other thing that I've gifted myself is that when I feel like a piece of chocolate, a packet of crisps, when we go out, on the odd occasion we go out, I will have what I want. I intentionally say to myself, I am choosing to do this, I'm choosing to eat this, and I'm choosing to enjoy it, because it is absolutely pointless to have it. It's actually detrimental, I think, to have it and to do a number on yourself for having it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's just general diet culture in a way as well. Like, we're all told you got to look a certain way, you got to be a certain way, you got to only do this, you got to. I'm nearly 50. I don't care about how I look anymore. I want my comfort. I want to be okay reaching for everything, and I can't. And I even feel so gypped about the way I got diabetes, because it wasn't my poor choices or anything. It was because I got diagnosed with sarcoidosis and got put on a heap of steroids coming off the back of 3 years of cancer.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I want to eat my chocolate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I've only got diabetes through no real fault of anything I did.
But I think it's also moderation.
I feel extra gypped.
I think it's also moderation in the food that you like. So when if you know you're going to go to dinner and you're going to be a bit naughty, then maybe for breakfast and lunch you're a bit more stricter, so that if you are that little bit naughtier at dinner time because you're going out with your friends, sure, it'll still affect you. Like, I'm not delusional here, it'll still affect you, but it won't have as big an effect if you've had a more stricter breakfast and a stricter lunch. And then the next day you could probably be that little bit more stricter as well. Like,
yeah, I understand, but I'm still just coming to terms with, like,
you're just angry. You're still in that angry phase.
Yeah. It's a cycle, Mary Linda. It's a cycle.
Go for a walk.
Is that you, Stephen?
Stephen.
No, that's Rich here. Yeah.
Oh, Rich, sorry, darling.
You have a big meal, go for a walk for an hour afterwards, and that helps so much. So you don't have to sweat your head off. Just
trust me, I won't.
Yeah, that really gets your metabolism going and helps you to process the extra food.
I've just never had to think so much about what I reach for to put in my mouth before. I used to cook something. Does it look good? Does it taste good? Grouse. I'm going to eat that. Now I have to think, well, no, because then when I do my little blood test, it's going to look bad, and I'm going to feel tired. And I don't want to feel like that either.
Have you had one of those monitors that go on your arm?
No, I'm only just learning to do finger prick tests.
Right. So I would suggest, because I've just come off 2 weeks of having one of those, and with the app, you can actually see instantaneously what your sugar levels have done. So you can have a meal and then you will be able to see, because it does your blood every minute or something like that. But you can see. So for me, it helped because I understood more, okay, well, my sugar spiked. Why did it spike? What did I just do that made it spike? So it just gives you that bit more of an understanding of your body and what it's doing around what you're eating, whether you've just done some exercise, all of that sort of stuff. So I actually would suggest, I'm not a medical person or anything like that, but I found it beneficial for me to have one of those on, and you put it on your arm for like 2 weeks, and for that 2 weeks you will instantly be able to see what your sugar is doing rather than the finger pricking. So the finger pricking, if you're doing that before a meal, it's obviously going to be low because you haven't eaten anything. As soon as you eat, it will spike. In most cases, it spikes, or it does something as soon as you put something in your mouth. So unless you're pricking before and after, you really don't get to see what it's doing. Whereas with that thing on your arm, you can open the app and have a look at it whenever you want. And I think it gives you a better view of what your body's doing.
And Mary Linda, I know Freestyle Libra have, I'm pretty sure they've still got their promotion on, 15. And you can get one of those apps for 15 days, one of those sensors for 15 days for $15.
It's $15.
I'll send that
it is at the moment as a trial.
All of your
suggestions in the email.
I think Mary Linda's problem is not the medical side of it. I think Mary Linda's problem at the moment is
the anger.
She's angry, and I want to say this to you, Mary Linda, that there is everybody that's here has been through the same thing or has been in the same position as what you're in. I'm 5 years and I'm still angry, but I've learnt a hell of a lot. And believe you me, you will come to terms with this new way of life. And you will only come to terms by doing what you're doing right now, listening to people, let people talk to you about it and you talking to them about it. If we had been told when we were young that we should act or wear these clothes or not eat these foods or not drink this amount of alcohol, we would not be in this position. But we weren't told that. So we're in this position now, and the only thing that we can do about it is what we're doing right now, is listening to the experts and trying to do what they advise you to do. So I hope that helps you. We're all in the same position.
No, it does. It does. I have to listen to a whole bunch of oncologists, endocrinologists,
all the ologists,
gastro guy, the respiratory guy.
You're not alone.
I know. It's just hard, and I do complain a lot about it. It's still fresh, this diabetes thing.
It's not complaining, Mary Linda.
It's like a cruel joke.
It's not complaining. It's genuine. It's how you feel. And Stephen, thank you so much. You hit the nail on the head. And that's why, Ange and I do these coaching sessions rather than just going, right, let's pick a nutrition topic and let's just talk at you about something. We put a topic there and then like a bit of bait, and then we sit back, and then all the questions come flooding in. And often it's the emotions that evoke a big response, and that's what we're here for. And can I just say as well, it's interesting, the language, and I've worked with people where their language is changed. It's rather than saying I can't have this, you can, but you choose not to. And that's what's amazing about what you're doing. You could choose to say to hell with it all, and I'm just going to eat, drink and be merry, but you're choosing to be on this webinar, which can be quite confronting. You choose to have the BS chicken salad, which makes me laugh the way you said it, but you've made a choice, and that's motivation. And that's motivation. It means movement in Latin, and you are moving towards, as Stephen was saying, acceptance. And it takes time. It's like grieving what your life was like before. And I think you should give yourself a pat on the back. You're not complaining.
It is a form of grieving in a way. It's like grieving the loss of the cookie jar that you reached for every morning. Like, when you get up and the first thing most of us will do is probably get a coffee, right? And if your favorite coffee cup breaks, it takes so long to get used to your new coffee cup.
Yeah. It's a habit. It's habit change, isn't it?
I'm just struggling with the whole living day to day, measuring my bloods, measuring what I like. At first, I started cutting out every carb, and that's too hard, and I don't want to live like that.
And it's not
but
sustainable.
I found ways
long-term.
to make it easier. Like, I never used to eat a lot of eggs, not because I didn't like them. I just didn't really see them as an option. They were like an ingredient for baking rather than, part of your meal. So now I eat more eggs, and I feel better. On the days I eat more eggs, I actually produce better sugar numbers, which is strange because eggs are quite fatty apparently.
But you know what? For you, you're
for the
responding
brain
to
and stuff.
But what that's an example of, opposite to Rich, but protein, particularly for type 2, if you're having protein with hardly any carbs, you'll get a better blood glucose response. It digests slower. So you're picking the foods
still put it on bread.
Yeah, that's great.
Not
But
like
you know
two
what?
pieces, one.
One, portion caution. And that's the example I gave before. So you're doing your beautiful sourdough with your eggs. So you're choosing that choice. You don't have to. But if we say I have to and I can't, it's like the school principal in your head, like a nagging mother or a school principal
Feels
saying
like
you can't. And then you feel ripped off and then you tend to rebel. So if you say I can't have that, what's the first thing you think about? Don't think about why. Don't think about pasta.
That thing you said you can't have.
Exactly. So it's reverse psychology. And they got Stephen and Deb know this, that I had to go back and get training coaching in psychology because I wasn't helping enough patients. You can give them meal plans, but what if people are having an issue with acceptance? Or what is their thinking? What is their mindset that's causing them to eat that food? So that's why the diary I'm going to send gives you a 0 to 10 rating on mood, because there's an interesting pattern. If you look at your mood is 2 out of 10, like really flat, and then you look at your food choice, the relationship and the pattern is quite interesting. And then you can start going, okay, so every time my mood's low, I tend to go for more of these types of foods. What's that about? Yeah.
To further that particular point,
you know what I'm hanging out for? I'm hanging out for a packet of party mix.
My 4-year-old loves that.
I love party mix. And
the gummy lollies.
It's been like 6 months.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Oh, and I could eat a whole packet without a problem. Mary Linda, you're not alone. You're not alone.
I'm not. I know I'm not. But further to Beck's point before about like doing extra psychology, because food is an addiction for me as well. I love it. My dream is not a Mercedes or a massive house or $5 million. It's to eat without getting fat. Let's be fair. Every woman wants that more than anything, right? But also, food is a different insidious addiction, unlike other addictions, because you still need to eat to live.
Correct.
Or live to eat, whichever you prefer. If I was addicted to heroin, someone could take away my heroin. But how are you going to take away sustenance?
Do you exercise? Do you, like Richard said?
Not since my cancer diagnosis. Not as much as I used to at all. Yeah, so I have to get back into that.
Go for a walk. Go for a walk. Exercise.
Oh, I will be doing that now that the weather's finally gotten a bit better in Melbourne. But
that helps.
Yeah.
Nolene.
Doesn't it?
I'll go Stephen, and then I'll ask. No, go Stephen. What was that?
No, I'm saying it. Doesn't it, Richard? You listen to Richard's story, and see what he's done. It's remarkable.
Oh, we've got some great case studies. I'd love to have that written, Rich. We've got everyone, all of you, everyone, it's all relative. All of you have made changes. And like I said, being on this webinar, that's effort. To talk about it, that's effort.
And did you find out that lady's name? That was the marathon runner?
Oh, the one with type 1 diabetes. No, I know what she looks like in my head.
Was it Sue?
Oh, but Sue, yes. Well done. It's Sue. I'll get her. Do you know what? I think she was back. It was like 3 webinars ago, and she was at work, wasn't she? When she was, I'm going to, because it'd be great for her to come back as well.
She was remarkable. She was remarkable.
Inspiring, really inspiring. Nolene's had a hand up for a while, so I just don't want to miss out her question. Nolene.
Yes, I just wanted to ask about carbs in rice and potatoes that have been double cooked. So potato that's boiled, then put in the fridge, and then up to 24 hours later recooked or reused, and the same with rice, cooked, frozen, and then reheated or just used. What changes the carb structure? And how many carbs does it have in? How should you calculate out the carb content on something like that?
It's a really good question, Nolene. So first of all, it will lower the GI. So with the potato, rice, or pasta, when you're cooking like that, it will lower the GI. So the digestion or the breakdown will be slower. The carb content, there's very little variation. But what I would recommend is using just one of the like MyFitnessPal app or CalorieKeen app and putting cooked, like the amount that you're having, and just use that, because there's not a huge amount of difference in the amount from what I know, only the GI. So I'll just use one of those apps to calculate the quantity.
Thank you.
Richard. Are you there, Richard? You just had your hand up.
Rich.
Oh, is he gone? I'll just wait for Rich to come back on. Other questions? These are great. My goodness, it's really, really good questions.
Can I say something else?
Of course you can.
Going back to that sourdough thing, my wife was talking to a dietitian yesterday, and she came home because what we have now is high fiber, low GI bread from Baker's Delight. She said that the dietitian said that sourdough. She confirmed, the dietitian confirmed what you said about cutting sourdough thin, but he said that the best is the most expensive.
Yeah, because they're using, it's authentic. You're right. It's the one that Mary Linda makes, or the artisan bakery that charges $12 a loaf.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said,
yeah, it's true. So I
$12.
slice, I get mine sliced up and put it in the
cheaper
freezer.
to make it yourself.
Correct.
Cheaper. Just find a friend that's got some starter, or make your own starter and keep it alive like a house plant for as long as you can.
Where
and the older your starter is, the better it'll start working.
Where do you live, Mary Linda? I might have
Melbourne.
to get started from you. Oh, bugger. All right. Too far away.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So Richard's back.
Sorry, Stephen?
Richard's back.
Yep, Richard. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I keep dropping out.
That's
which
okay.
is really annoying. I was just going to say, yeah, with pasta, if you cook it more on the al dente side, I find it spikes less as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Which is, I think, much more pleasant. And also, you know, when you, I've had to teach my mum this because she won't cook it al dente. She'll cook it till it's bearable. But then when she has leftovers and reheats it in the microwave the next day, it's just a soft mess. Yeah, bless her. But you're absolutely right. Al dente means by the teeth, so you can bite it with the teeth, definitely. So you can see all these cooking tips from years ago still apply. And, you know, when you're using acid in your cooking, the vinegar and the lemon juice in your meals can lower the blood sugar levels. Lots of different things you can do. I'm just looking at any more questions and like I said, I'm going to be sending a few things to you all, but hopefully from what you can see, it's not a one size fits all. If you find that you are struggling and you think, I don't know how many carbs I need to eat, I'll send you the diary. Be a detective. The first thing I ask you is do the diary. And I'm not being the food police. It's not just about the food. It's writing what you eat, but it's all the other factors. Okay, so I'm not red penning it or judging. I'm trying to look at, are there any factors, or you might find you find it out yourself. And if you find it out yourself, right, or if you find it out yourself and still want to have a chat with me, send me the document and we can work out a time on how to work things through. Because I've always say this, you don't see your eyes with your eyeballs. It takes an outsider sometimes to help you. But think of those other variables, not just the carbs. But carbs is the most contentious topic when it comes to diabetes. And like I said before, how much we eat depends on every individual. Yeah, it depends on every individual. I don't ever tell someone what to eat. I always ask them, what do they like to eat? And if what they like to eat has no effect, then keep going. But if it's having an effect, that's where we need to do a little bit of tweaking, swapping, things like that. Just seeing if there's any. Denise. Hi, Denise. You're on mute, my love. Denise, you're on mute. That's it.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Recently I was on holiday, and one of the biggest problems I had was being able to choose food that I could eat, and knowing that I was going to be spending hours on a bus without being able to exercise and things like that, plus the added factor of stress, which seems to go along with things to do with holidays. When I got back home, my blood sugar levels were through the roof. I also caught a respiratory virus from someone on the bus. So when I got back from my holiday, I was really sick. My blood sugar levels were uncontrolled. And that was a month ago, and I've only just managed to get things going reasonably well now. But it seems this has happened before. Every time I go away, everything goes out of the window. And that's even if I eat things like salad and nothing else. All those other factors screw up the blood sugar levels. And I know that's not carbs related, but like you said a little while ago, there's more than one factor.
Spot on, Denise.
Yes, so it's an issue that I have to somehow or other try and deal with, but I'm not sure how. Unless I just never go on holiday again.
No, we don't want you to stop living if travel is one of your loves. But you're absolutely spot on, because like I said, sometimes people are just cutting back in their diet and not realizing that there are other factors impacting their blood glucose levels, be it chemotherapy or stress or bad sleep or other types of medications. Happy to have a look at what you're doing. I mean, it'd be really interesting to look at specifically what's going on at the holiday. And you said regardless of eating the salads, they're still high. So just enjoy your food then.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a bit of anxiety. Maybe it's the anxiety that you could look at all different factors and work on a particular factor. It could be anxiety. It could be also with travel, it can be hot weather. It can be time zone differences. Deb would know about that for sure. So many other factors, and you put all that together, and then sometimes it's just accepting the fact that, okay, I'm going away for a week. It's not the end of the world. It's not going to affect my overall HbA1c. It's not the end of the world. I'm doing the best I possibly can. Or there could be a solution to the problem. It just depends. I'm not sure without looking entirely at the whole. Yeah.
Well, I'm back home now and back into my usual habits. And my blood sugar levels have calmed down, not as low as I'd like to see them, but they're all below 10.
Great. And you've been sick, so I've still got this respiratory virus, and I don't have diabetes, but still it affects my sleep, and that's going up to 2 months now, and I never get sick. So I sort of think, well, if I had diabetes, I don't think the sugars would still be great. So just give yourself time. These viruses these days, they're just hanging around and horrible. And is it already 3:30?
It is. And it's gone very fast. There's been I've been sitting here listening. I turned my camera off for a while and caught up on some other things, but that's been a really great discussion. And I think I also, I always get something out of these myself. I don't live with diabetes. I've worked with Diabetes Australia for 12 years, but I'm always learning something new, whether it's diet related or health related or physical activity or how to keep yourself well in general. So I think it's great. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. And please remember to reach out anytime you like. Mary Linda, I know you're new on your journey, so if you have any questions at all, Myself and Beck, I manage Diabetes Connect, so our online forum where you can jump in and ask questions. I don't know if you've been in there fully yet, but you can jump in there and ask questions, post your own questions. Up on the top right-hand corner, there's a little blue button that says create. You can create your own discussion post, and any question at all, no questions, you know, can I eat a banana, or can I, you know, ride a horse, whatever you like to ask, whatever you're stuck on in between your healthcare appointments, feel free to
sounds
jump
like
in
a really
there.
good resource to take advantage of, not in a bad way, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, because we're in there, our other members are in there as well.
Yeah,
that
no,
are helping each other
been
and
great.
always, yeah.
Even suggestions from Stephen and Rich, thank you. Like, I'm just glad that I can continue to eat sourdough. Seriously, I'm happy
That's a
with
good
that.
Next
we're
time
all
I'm in
and
Melbourne,
now
I'm
that I
going to come and
know-
get
yes, because you
some.
make your own.
No, Rich wrote in the comment section, the Q&A section, how the GI lowers the next day with the starchy things that we all love, like the rice and potato. I have no problem eating day-old pasta. This is a good thing. But I also don't cook it like your mum, Beck.
Happy days.
Yeah, oh, sort of, but they're getting it's I'm glad it's not
progress.
I was really like saddened because diabetes, you have to monitor your diet, and I've never had to do that till like now. And it's good that all my good options aren't taken away all the time. That part's good. So thank you. I'm sure I monopolized far too much of the hour, and I'll try not to be so talky next time. But no, it's been great. Thank you.
I was at the supermarket today, and a funny thing happened. I came up alongside a couple that had the fellow had got his wife to read the label on a can, and she was being argumentative about reading the label, and he said, "No, you've got to read the label and tell me the carbs that are in the can." And she said, "But what about the packet of biscuits that you ate yesterday?"
Allegedly.
Does food have calories if no one sees you eat it?
Yeah.
That's
Or if
right.
it's broken. If biscuits are broken, it doesn't count.
If you don't
Yeah.
swallow it,
Just
it doesn't
just
count.
remember a
Calories
pack
fall
of
out.
biscuits.
If you get it
pack
on
of
sale,
biscuits.
does it count as bad?
Calorie
Isn't it
amnesia.
if you drink a Diet Coke with it, it doesn't count, it cancels it out?
It
Oh, there
cancels
you
it
go.
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because no one sees it. And if the sale label covers the nutritional panel, then it must be good, right?
Here's our new webinar, what you can get away with.
Yeah.
Cake
No,
and-
you
cake
can't
and
though,
have a
because
cake
your
and eat
blood
it
sugars
too.
will show it up.
No sugar Coke.
They'll
Cancels out
snitch.
everything else.
There you go.
All right, everyone. It was
Thank
absolute
you,
pleasure.
ladies. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Until
you
next
very
time.
much, everyone. Lovely to
Bye.
meet you all.
Bye-bye.